show where we examine modern marriage from every angle, including our own relationship. I'm Allison Raskin. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, relationship coach, and mental health advocate who forced my husband to do this show with me.
And I'm John Blakesley, Allison's husband, a writer, and I have left a table overturned in the front of our yard for weeks now. Weeks. I've just let it be there. No one knows, like, why is there outdoor table thrown about? Like, there's been some awful ruckus over there. I've just let it happen. Build the mystery in the neighborhood. What's going on in there?
Yeah. Well, as we discover later in the podcast, the outside is your domain, and it is operated in a very different way than the inside, which is my domain.
Right, because you keep everything orderly, and my philosophy is you got to keep these neighbors on their toes. You got to throw them a little curveball every now and then and say, what's going on in there? What's wrong? Who are these people? You know? It builds the mystery. It makes them want to come back.
Or never walk by our house again.
Well, that's a risk, too.
Yeah.
That's a risk, too, yeah.
Well, speaking of neighbors, we have a communal episode for everyone today.
Ooh.
We're going to be talking to our next door neighbor and very dear friend Celia about the importance of found family, building community as adults, how to create friendships when you meet later in life to the point where, like, you can rely on each other. You know, basically that, like, we've all become so isolated, and how do we kind of break free of that and learn to, you know, depend on our friends the way we maybe think we shouldn't because we'd be a burden or an inconvenience.
Right. That's the intellectual version of it. What it really is Allison and Celia just having a love fest for about 35 minutes.
But we touch on those topics.
Yeah, you do. But you're just gazing into each other's eyes a lot. So.
Yeah, Celia even took your seat.
She did. I don't think I don't know about you trying to nudge me out for more Celia. I know all about your little plans.
I like it when we're all together.
For sure.
Yeah. But also when I'm with Celia. Okay. But before we dive into all of that, it's time for everyone's favorite segment on the podcast, Marriage Moment TM.
Wow. You took a real swing with that.
I
You know
did.
what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, like, if you were, like, a jazz musician.
Oh.
And, like, the cymbal on the drum was part of your improvisation. So I thought it was cool and jazzy.
Thank you. No one's ever called me jazzy before.
It's probably the last time.
Okay, so my marriage moment was very recent. It was from this past week, which was my dad and his partner were over at our house for a night of taboo and Thai. And we were playing taboo, and then the Thai food got delivered. And everyone went into a complete panic about needing to have plates and silverware. And my dad was like, where are the spoons? Like, it was just like total chaos. And I was desperately trying to get everybody, you know, placemats, napkins, water, all the stuff. And you had just sat yourself down to start eating your soup.
Yeah.
And so the marriage moment, though, is that
That I'm just like a kind of a piece of shit.
No, it's actually the exact opposite, which was that, like, I felt like this pressure to get everything, and then I was like, well, and then John just kind of sat himself down, and so many people would have become defensive in that moment, and you just laughed and was like, yeah, sorry about that, and then you got up and started helping set up the table. And the fact that, like, we can laugh about that stuff, like, yeah, people fuck up, and you, like, forget that, like, we're hosting or that other people need, you know, plates.
The soup looked delicious. And I just really wanted to dive in. Everyone was hungry, and then they just started panicking. The minute the food came, just give me the plate. Come on, Allison, what are you doing? Faster. Everyone just started freaking out.
I had to be like, calm down. Everyone will eat.
Everyone will eat. Yeah, it's here.
Yeah,
The food
but, like,
is here.
just that, like, you're someone that I can, like, say that to in, like, a joking way, and then you laugh when I say it rather than, like, snapping or being like, well, I thought to, or, like, defensiveness. You were like, whoops. Like, that was, like, a moment of reminder of, like, why I'm very thankful to be married to you specifically.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, honey. All right, so my marriage moment was, like, maybe a week or so ago. We had a bunch of chores to do.
Uh-oh.
And, like, in, like, kind of our neighborhood in general, and we had, like, maybe 4 or 5 things that we needed to get done. And Allison said, you said to me, why don't we see if we can get all of this done in like 25 minutes. And if we can do this in 25 minutes, we get to order a great big nice meal tonight or go out somewhere. And if we don't get it all done in 25 minutes, we have to eat slop. I was like, what's slop? She's like, I don't know. We'll figure it out if we lose. But it has to be slop. And so we spent the next 25 minutes racing, probably dangerously,
perhaps,
through our neighborhood in the car. You were going off to do one errand. I was going off to do the other errand. We're yelling at each other like, why? You got to do it faster.
Go, go, go.
Go, go, go. Just like yelling at cars in front of us. You fucked us. And we got it done in like 27 minutes.
Yeah, we were like 2 minutes
We were
too
2
long.
minutes off, which is unbelievable. We got it done as fast as we did because there's a lot of stuff. And there wasn't any particular type of rush.
No, it was a self-instated rush. We made it a game.
Yeah, you made it a game.
Yeah.
And so, like, you just create constantly all these little games out of like the boring drudgery of life that turns it into like a bit and something funny, and it just brings such joy to even the smallest moments that suddenly just us running 4 or 5 errands becomes playtime with my best friend.
Aw,
And like I'm just so grateful to have that all the time.
thank you. That like was when we were in Florida, and I was like, "What if we have to pack in 10 minutes or less?"
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
you do
we
that all
were
the time.
just like running around.
Let's go, let's go. Check all the drawers, check all the drawers. I left my jacket, leave it behind.
It just makes life more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you gotta have goofs,
You gotta have goofs. Now we could have hit someone in our car,
but we didn't.
but we didn't.
That was lovely. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And then we should reveal that. And then later that day said, I don't want slop. I want to order it.
You pulled the pregnancy card and said, I'm ordering it anyway. No slop for me. So, I think there is some, we should have eaten slop. We really should have eaten slop.
Yeah, we should have eaten slop.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that it was just that one last light that screwed us.
Yeah, I know. Otherwise, we had it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we were home free.
We had it if that light hadn't fucked
And
us.
did I think about running through the red and doing it anyway? Yeah, I did. I thought about it.
It's a huge intersection.
Absolutely. It would have put you, our unborn son, in incredible jeopardy, but I didn't want to eat slop. I don't even know what slop is.
We would have found out. But I'm a princess. Okay. The rules don't apply to me
Right.
when I don't like them. Okay, so let's now we're going to share a listener's marriage moment. And this is a very sweet one. The listener writes, I had been considering sending in my marriage moment, and then I watched the episode where you both had niece-related marriage moments, and it gave me the push to finally send mine in. My once chatterbox niece has become very quiet and withdrawn recently. I was sitting with my partner and some family member discussing our concerns. We weren't sure if this change in behavior is because she is a preteen or something more worrisome. It was mentioned in this conversation that my niece enjoys playing computer games, something nobody in my family can relate to, but my partner was a gamer kid and still dabbles. A few hours later, I overheard my partner talking to my niece about what computer game she likes and swapping info so they could game together sometime. This really hit me because my partner is notoriously awkward with kids and usually avoids interacting with them. The fact that my partner heard we were having concerns about my niece and knew they had something to connect over and then made the effort to reach out means so much to me. We've been happily married for 6 years now, and I'm still finding there are new delights within marriage that I didn't expect.
Oh, wonderful.
It's so beautiful. And if you want to submit a marriage moment for us to share in an upcoming episode, you can send an email to startermarriagepodcast@gmail.com. That's startermarriagepodcast@gmail.com. We love receiving your marriage moments. Please send them in.
We read everything that you submit.
Welcome back to Starter Marriage. It's time to pop the question. This is a part of the show where we deep dive into the main topic of the episode with an incredible guest.
Wow.
And not only is this our first in-studio guest, this is also our first close personal friend guest.
Wow.
Please welcome our next door neighbor, Celia. Woo! I'm so excited.
Look how giddy you are.
I know. I also got embarrassed doing the intro with her here. It's like I feel it's just a little embarrassing for me.
It's like real life versus work life versus.
Yeah,
Plus, you want Celia to think you're cool. And suddenly
I do think you're cool.
Seeing you on screen maybe is cooler than seeing you in person where you're like, oh, this is kind of dorky.
I guess I don't want Celia to think I'm cool because I don't aspire to be cool because it's sort of outside of my reach.
Uh-huh.
What? I just want her to really like and love me.
Okay. Well, let's be clear, and we can get into this. When we first met, I thought you were very, very, very cool. And since then, I've thought you were cool.
Wait, you thought I was cool when we met?
Yes.
Really? You've never shared this.
Well, you were recording a podcast and couldn't possibly be bothered to answer the door.
So tell the story.
Tell the story,
yeah. So we met because, well, first I met John and Ken, your dad. And
we were walking around the house taking care of business.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
doing manly man things.
Yeah.
And we moved into the house in February 2022.
And I'd already been living there.
Yeah.
Right. And I was very excited that somebody moved in because I obviously was, that we'd been watching that house get kind of like redone. And so then we met John and Ken. And that was awesome. And he was like, oh, yeah, like you have to meet Allison. She'd love to meet you. And I was like, great. So my husband baked a sourdough and we put it in a little, wrap. And then I brought it over with a cute card and I knocked on the door and I saw Allison there in the room. And she just didn't answer the door. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll just leave it at the door. And
so you're holding a sourdough at our front door.
Yes.
You can see Allison at the table. You're smiling at her.
Yes.
And Allison clearly sees you and
I don't know if she
doesn't pay
saw
attention.
me, but she knew I was there.
Okay, but here's
That
an
is cool.
important.
That is cool.
Here's an important
I was like,
factor.
oh shit. I was like, okay, welcome to LA, Celia. Because I moved from Chicago. I had never experienced that before. And I was like, okay,
Allison was
got it.
big dogging
the
you.
talent,
Okay, an important element of what was going on was I was in the middle of recording my other podcast, and also I had recently had major knee surgery and was still wearing my huge knee brace, and the idea of walking from the table to the door was daunting. And it was going to take a long time, and it was scary.
So the better thing to do is just ignore the person at the door.
Well, that way she seems cool.
Like I said, it worked.
I'd also been living in an apartment for 7.5 years, and I was not used to people being able to knock on my front door.
Fair.
That was a huge adjustment from going from the second level of a condo to a house. Where
I guess you always knew someone was coming over.
Yeah, you knew if someone was. So it was very jarring that someone could knock on my front door.
Well, and I think this goes along with your topic today is, the idea of a neighbor coming over and greeting themselves, I feel like isn't really a thing as much.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's the best thing in the world, but I felt even awkward delivering it, then awkward to be rejected. And then when I did get a text from you, I was like, oh, thank God. Hopefully they're not gluten-free, which many people in LA are, right? So because we gave a sourdough.
And sage.
And sage.
Yeah, you gave us sage.
And then I've had to sage John multiple times.
Every now and then.
Oh, right, because it was a new house.
Yes.
Jessica's bad things
I
keep
get
happening
cursed
to
every
John.
now and then.
Oh, so you
where a series of bad things happen to me, and so every time we're oh, it looks like the curse is back, and so then Allison will sage me to get rid of the curse, and we use your sage, and one time it definitely worked.
Yeah,
the curse was broken.
It was.
We haven't done it in a while. Maybe we should do it again.
Yeah,
it might be
time.
For
a saging.
I'm due for a saging. Yeah. The curse has taken me over.
So long story short, I thought you were very cool, and I still think you're very cool. What?
Define cool, though.
You're very interesting. You have lots to say and really strong points of view. You have a very cool job and do cool things like this.
Get a room, you two.
What? I mean,
I think
now
you're
she's just fishing for compliments.
Yeah, exactly. Just stop
She's
it.
So how pretty am I?
This is something I wanted to talk about, which is building a friendship as an adult, right? Because by the time we met, I was 32, 31, I guess, about to turn 32, and you were younger than me.
Not by much.
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nice for you.
I think once you hit 30, it's not like you're young and old. It's just like you're just old.
We're in our 30s.
Okay, sorry. 30s.
And, and so it was this thing of like, I really liked you a lot, but like, I also didn't want to like come on too strong.
Oh.
And I think that so after you gave us that lovely gift, we then invited you over for brunch.
That's right.
And I was like, oh my God, I really want to be friends with her. But I've been burned before. There's been many times, and I talk about this a lot, where like meeting friends as an adult is like dating. It's like you might have like one coffee and it goes so well, and you get so excited and you're like, this is going to be my new best friend. And then like you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Which is something that happens to me.
I think that's a very LA thing.
Yeah.
So
it
LA.
happens to me all the time.
I'm sure it doesn't happen to you all the time.
It does. And I'll tell you more later.
Okay.
And so look, sometimes I'm the person that doesn't want to go out again. Sometimes it's not always.
But it's not like a
one-sided.
romantic relationship where it's like, hey, I don't think we have a connection.
Right.
You
So
can't
I guess
be
that's
like
true. It's more of like the ghosting
Right.
or just like the letting it like
rescheduling.
flop.
Yeah. But I think what was so absolutely wonderful about you is that you were reciprocal from the beginning.
Oh, that's very kind.
Like you made it like, because I have a lot of friendship insecurity that like people don't want to be my friend, and you made it so easy to become your friend.
I felt the same way. I feel like we have like a very similar communication style where it's natural to like text out of nowhere or text at random times. And like, I feel like maybe that's where it just was on the same playing field of like, okay, we're picking up what each other are putting down,
And like it wasn't always just one person initiating a hangout. Like it felt like it was like a mutual. And I feel like in a lot of relationships, one person's the planner and one person's not. And so then you're like, am I bugging them by reaching out so often? Or like, why don't they ever reach out to me? But it felt very mutual.
No, I love that. I feel the same. And then where did John come into the picture?
These
and it was
two.
like, and then I started texting John. No, but I actually think, I feel like now like you're on a couple texts with us.
Yeah, every now and then I'm allowed to grace the text presence.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just like from my perspective, it's been wonderful seeing your friendship grow. And then also like how we have consistently helped each other out as neighbors. Like, I mean, I also love your husband and like we've become friends, but like that's wonderful. But it's also like living is so hard. And like we have so many problems with the houses. There's problems with like our kids or your kid, maybe our kids too. We're like having to like help each other out. And like we're far away from our families. You know, you're far away from your families relatively.
Yeah.
And humans weren't really meant to be like this. And so it's just so wonderful to have someone next door who feels like a chosen family, who feels like they can swing by at any time, like a sitcom or something, or like I once jumped over your fence to let your father into the house. I had to break into your house to let your father in. Like,
and I've had to break into your house a couple of times.
Yeah, you had to break into our house.
Pretend to be me.
That's true. I did have to pretend to be you.
Yeah, tell that story.
At the box store.
Tell what happened there.
I don't even know what happened there, but basically you had boxes getting delivered and you had like a little note that said, come pick these boxes up at the local UPS store. And it was called the Box Depot or whatever it was called behind us.
I have a lot to say about that store in general. They claim to have over 2,000 different size boxes.
I believe them.
And there's no way that they have
a lot
that
of boxes
many.
in there.
They have
you gone in there?
No.
The name of the store.
You can't. No, they have a lot of boxes.
2,000 different sizes?
They have stacks of boxes,
Allison.
like many, many layers.
The name of the store is Box City. It's a city of boxes. And you're confused about the diversity of boxes there?
Well, because it's right in the design on the sign that says they have over 2,000.
I bet they have more
sizes.
I bet they have more.
Think about that though, Celia.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
How small do you have to go? How small do you have to go to
No, they
have?
go big. They go big.
Diamond
and they also
box?
they go different dimensions. Like, so even if it's the same like volume inside, it's like different dimensions of the box around. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's lots.
You hearing this?
wait,
Multi-dimensional boxes?
if I ever-
Quantum boxes?
If I ever make a lot of money, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say, give me one each.
One of every kind, please.
Oh my
and I'm going to
God.
see how many.
Well, first of all, then you have to follow through.
Also, they're not pre-made. You'd
What?
have to make them. Like,
Oh.
you'd have to, like, whatever. I don't
Assemble.
Assemble. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to
Okay.
assemble.
I mean, you
them,
could
so.
talk to the mayor of Box City, see if they got an assembly team.
Yeah, they might.
I'm going to blow all my money
Well,
on this.
maybe not though, because what happened.
Yeah, see?
So I went in there and I said, because Allison asked me, it was when your mom was
Yeah,
a little bit sick.
I was in New York because my mom was dying.
Yes.
And I was getting delivered boxes of my
Your
book and from my publisher, and it was like my first copy, like seeing it in hardcover
Right.
and like the real version of
like
the
you
book.
needed those boxes.
Yeah.
So I went in there and I was like, hey, I'm picking up these boxes. And they were like, great, show me your ID. And I was like, it's my neighbor's. She's not there. I need to pick up the boxes. And sure enough, I saw the boxes behind this man, like very visible. Like they were the boxes. And I was like, oh, I think it's those boxes right there. Can you just hand them to me? And he goes, absolutely not. Like, we only hand boxes when you have the ID so we can prove that it's your box, which like is very smart and secure. But at the time, it was very annoying because I was like, no, like she's not coming. Like, she's not going to be back. And he's like, well, they're going to get sent back to the sender if you don't pick them up within like the next week. And I was like, no, she won't be back in the next week. Like her mom is very sick. She like doesn't know when she'll be back. And so we argued for a very long time. And finally, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not getting anywhere. So I left and I called Allison and I was like, I need to impersonate you. So we found that she had her passport in her desk. And so I went in and grabbed the passport and I put on, she's giving me some of her clothes. So I put on some of her clothes and a hat and sunglasses. I did go back the next day, but I was very worried he was like, maybe working like every day, which is possible at a place like that. And so
you were in a full Allison disguise.
I was Allison disguised, dressed
Did you
up
like
as Allison.
did you put on like some hand sanitizer
No.
before you left?
No, I didn't. I should have just to smell like bask in the hand sanitizer scent. No, I didn't do that. But I got there and luckily it was a different man, but I did see, and I also had memorized things on your passport so that just in case if they were like, oh, like, when's your birthday? I don't remember, so don't ask me now, but when's your birthday? What's your address? Like all
Your
the
birthday's
things.
May 7th.
Wow. Well, your birthday's after mine,
Very good.
June 23rd, 2nd?
No, you should have stopped at June 20th.
20th. Oh,
You're very close.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, then pat on the back to me. But yeah, so I went to this man, long story short, and told him I was Allison. I had the passport ready, and that freaking guy, the new guy, didn't even ask for
He
my
didn't
ID.
even ask for the ID.
He just was like, oh yeah, here are your boxes. I'm like, okay. So, and then the other guy came out of the corner, and I like quickly ran away with the boxes.
It would have been terrific if he was like, and what county were you born in?
No, he was just like, oh yeah, here you go. I'm like, okay, so it's not that secure, apparently. But anyways, long story short, I impersonated you.
But like, I feel like with almost anyone in my life, I would have felt too guilty or uncomfortable to request that level of favor. You know, like I think that's something like I've tried to really work on is like being more comfortable asking things of my friends. And I keep having crises, so I've had to. But like my instinct is like, oh, like the fear of like being a burden, right? Of like that's too much to ask. And I feel like you offer the help so easily and then also like allow me to do the same for you. So then it's like it feels comfortable, right? Because it's like it feels mutual.
Yeah, I feel like I would do anything because of our friendship and just based on like proximity too. It's like, well, why not, you know? But I do feel like it's mutual. So then, yeah, when I have things come up, which inevitably we do, I feel very comfortable asking you too. And I think that's where it's like, maybe like what you would have asked like your mom or dad if they lived like right next to you or whatever. Right. But because they don't, it's like nice to have that bond to say like, okay, you know, it's not a huge deal if I have to go to the store and buy a lemon, but like if they have a lemon, that would be great. And asking that type of like small favor has been really awesome for both of us.
Well, as I wrote in my piece for the Washington Post,
Yes,
which
that
was a love letter to you.
It was, and my grandma and my mom really loved it too. So I felt very special.
Because I had seen this video on TikTok that was this woman talking about how, like, we have forgotten that, like, friendship requires us to do things for the other person.
That it's
right?
that it has to be like a reciprocal.
Yeah, and like that, like
Yeah.
this idea that, like, oh my God, I can't believe my friend asked me to drive you to the airport. It's like, of course they asked you. Like, you know, like it's like a bartering system of like favors. That's like the foundation of friendship. It's like,
Well, and it builds trust too. It builds that like feeling that this person has my back.
mhm.
And I think that's something that with friendships, you almost like, I don't want to say test the friendship, but like when you're starting a friendship up, you're testing the friendship in a lot of ways. And sometimes people fail that test. And
Oh, yeah.
then it's like, okay, well, I don't want to keep asking you, you know, to do things because like I feel like it's not mutual.
I think it's telling though of how difficult it is to make a friendship that like you guys got so lucky that you're literally live in the houses next door to each other, right? And that usually doesn't happen in life. And I wonder how your friendship would have evolved differently if you had met in some professional environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have any experiences of like making adult friends outside of our street or?
Well, yeah, I mean, she came to LA
Yeah.
like in her
Yeah.
30s.
I think
like,
I've always
from
been
Chicago.
Yeah, I think I've always been like kind of on the quest for friendships. Like Chris, my husband, will make fun of me because he likes to have like a small amount of friends and pretty much like never talk to them kind of people. You know what I mean? It's like we'll hang out, we'll go to basketball.
Manhood.
Yeah, exactly. But like then he'll go golfing for 6 hours with somebody, and then I'll be like, "So, tell me about their life. Like, what's about their promotion? You know, how is their kid? Whatever." And he's like, "I have no idea." I was
Yeah, he's like,
"What
he
did
hit
you
a
do?"
birdie on the
He
sixth
can
hole.
recall every hole and all the things, but nothing about the depth of the friendship, which doesn't minimize the friendship. I'm just saying like it's a different relationship.
Yeah.
But I love creating friendships, and I think friends evolve over time for sure. I do think though I'm less of a soulmate person, more of a timing and like I guess like the stars didn't necessarily like have to align for us to be friends, but I do think like the physicality of the friendship does make sense. And so yeah, I think would we have been friends in another world? Probably, because I feel like we just get along. But I think again, like we had the chance to kind of test the friendship throughout the last couple of years because we live so close together. And because things have come up that are really tragic or really happy, and so we've been able to experience those together, which like again when you're somewhere further apart, you know, it's harder to keep that friendship going. Like I like talking on the phone, but not everybody does, so that's something that.
And in LA, there's this sense
others.
that like if you live more than 20 minutes away, I'll never see you again. And that was like a big decision we had to make when we moved to the West Side. It was like most of my friends are mid-city, East Side, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna have to be in the car a lot. Like
And I feel like you do such a great job. Like often I'm like, where are you guys? And you're like, we're on the East Side. I was like, okay, see you later. But no, it's like it's so great that you're able to keep that up too.
But it is hard. Like I definitely like, you know, I do see my other friends way less than I would if I lived closer to them. And I think that that's like a thing I have to keep reminding myself, that it's not that like they don't love me or I'm not of value to them. It's just like the logistics of adult life.
Well, and again, like evolution of friendships too. You know, like a lot of your friends on the East Side now have kids, and like that's a whole nother, you know, dimension to hang or to figure out and navigate. So I feel like you might even find yourself like with your baby being like, oh, now I'm actually going to seek out those people with kids so that we can like do something together with the babies.
Well, we've already discussed cutting out a little frame in our fence so that our two sons can go back and forth.
Yes.
So
Exactly. And so I think that's like without kids, with kids, whatever, we still would have been friends. But I think having like the kid thing in common then too, and the location is like, that's the.
Yeah. Well, I think the proximity
golden nugget.
creates an intimacy where like you were coming over while Allison was in a knee brace, right? She couldn't even make it to the door. You came to Ruth's funeral across the country, which was just like
not proximity. That was just
that's
kindness.
true. But I suppose I meant by that as like the intimacy that laid.
I felt close enough,
Yeah.
even though it had been it hadn't been. I mean, we'd known each other probably like a year and a half, maybe 2.
2022 to it was like 2 years, yeah.
2 years.
Or 2.5. Yeah.
But I felt very like fortunate to be able to go to the funeral because I had met Ruth so many times and felt very close to her, and know that I felt like I had seen from when we went to the Thai restaurant with her, all the way to the funeral of like the craziness that happened in those couple of months. And so I knew that like I had to be there. It was just like I don't know, you just kind of are like, yeah, that's like what I have to do. Like you can't even like think twice about it.
And so many friends I had who I've been friends with for longer, either weren't able to come or it didn't occur to them to come. And I think that that's such a nice thing to remember is it's like, for a lot of us, like, it's like we don't have these lifelong friends, but that doesn't mean that you can't make a really strong friend later in life.
Right.
And that it takes time, right? Like, I remember, like, the first time I said I love you to you was at my bachelorette party, and I, like, thought about it, and I was like, I feel like it's time.
Wait, I don't even remember that.
Oh, man.
Wait, did I say it back?
I think so.
Okay, good.
But I was like, yeah, like, I love her so much, but, like, we haven't been saying that to each other.
You thought about it like you would think about a romantic relationship.
Yes, I did, yeah. And I was like, because I also, like, it meant so much to me that she was there and, like, those big moments, and I just, like, wanted it to be clear that, like, that I loved you.
There were a lot of, like, appreciation moments, I feel like, at your bachelorette, at all bachelorettes, but at yours, I felt like we did go around and do a lot of appreciations, and I loved meeting all of your friends from different walks of life because I felt like that gave me, as the newbie friend, a lot more dimension to you and like how you, I don't know, show up for your friends and who you want to surround yourself by and everything. So it was nice for me to be part of that crew.
Yeah, and like, because that's like that. Again, like that insecurity on my end of like, am I, do I care more about her than she cares about me and all of that. And like, also like, there's like an element of like, you have so many friends. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, well, Celia is so important to me, but she's got so many friends. And so I don't know where I go to Celia. And then I have to be like, Allison, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like what matters is our dynamic, and our dynamic is wonderful.
Totally. It's like an episode of The Bachelor when we're, on The Bachelor, they're all competing, but at the end of the day, they're all individual relationships. Isn't that what they say? I guess there is a selected one at the end, but they very rarely.
Yeah,
it's very much a competition.
The whole premise of the show is you narrow it down to one.
I know, but then they don't even work out, and then they end up going for someone else.
What Allison wants you to do is she wants the rose, and you're gonna have to invite all your friends over.
Will you accept my final rose?
Absolutely, I would.
Actually, I have given you roses before.
You have, from your garden.
Yeah, so there's that.
When did it start to feel like we were real friends?
Oh, I don't know if there was like a specific moment, but I feel like you're a very good conversationalist, and so I feel like we would go on a lot of walks together and give a lot of details about our life or, challenges that were happening. And I feel like that's for me when we started to like take it from, just like, oh, like, how are you? How are you? What are you doing this weekend? Right? Like the top level or surface level details to more like, okay, I really want to know like what's going on. And so I don't know if there was a specific moment, but I feel like after a few walks and hangouts and dinners or whatever, I was like, okay, like I feel like we're on like the next level.
Yeah, I was thinking just like I keep just going back to the intimacy of proximity. Like when you're walking down the street while you're pregnant, I'm like watching in real time because I see you all the time, little Clark growing, and I see him all the time. And so there's just so much more ability to like we're involved in each other's lives. And so it allows you to go on a walk just on a random Tuesday afternoon and share personal information or things that are going on. And that's like, honestly, I feel like sharing secrets is like how most people like develop friendships.
Yeah, like you said, the intimacy of it, of seeing and being like, it just builds such a richer view of like the other person, right? Like we're able to like see things day in, day out that are, you know, like I hear you like taking out your trash and things like
Right,
that, which
right.
like, I'm not saying that's like so pleasant, but it's just like, oh, I know John's taking out his trash. And it's like, you kind of know, like,
What?
as if
Yeah.
you're in a village together, that like what the other person's up to, and you're watching out for their property. Like when your, you know, fence was broken and, or packages are outside, you're just kind of like the ultimate neighborhood watch.
Right.
And
Or when your neighbor hasn't weeded his front lawn.
that was bad.
And and then your neighbor rats you out to your wife that you're the talk of the neighborhood because you haven't pulled up the weeds yet.
John, they were larger than me.
It was
It
out
was-
of control.
It was out of
It was
control.
out of control.
Yeah.
It was out of
and
control.
Someone
time.
needed to say something.
It was time. Because I have to make sure that my property value, you know.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, but I do feel like, you know, I walk past your house every day.
Right.
So
It's the eyesore. We were the eyesore of the
yeah.
street.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It
was one of my greatest
I would
shames.
like people to know that I'm in charge of what the inside of the house looks like, and John's in charge of what the outside of the house looks like.
Look, it was not my proudest moment.
No.
But what did I do it that day?
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
That
were very
day.
impressed that you got right on it.
I did.
So this like brings me to like something I like find so appealing, which is like communal living.
Yeah.
Like in my ideal
Mm.
world, like I would like live on a compound with multiple friends. And we would
Wow.
like share like we'd still have our own space, but like,
Yes.
you know, like sharing responsibilities, like, you know, like it is so much easier when you live close. And like I see my sister's lifestyle being in a small suburban town, and like she just sees her friends constantly. Like she just like will bump into one of her best friends like at the ice cream store, and like these like big cities, like when you're sprawled out, you don't have that. And so I feel like you have to be like so intentional. And like the idea of like one day just like you not living next to me makes me so very upset. And it's like, do I just like follow Celia wherever she moves?
Yeah.
I mean-
that's definitely the right solution. Or vice versa. But it actually reminds me of, you know how they talk about the blue zones and how like people who have like so much longevity is one of the big reasons is because they live in like these communities where like the younger people take care of the older people.
Right.
The older people give, you know, knowledge to the younger people. And it's like, even if it's just like that community, I mean, it's kind of like the old school village type, but at the end of the day, like there is something to it. Like there's something tangible I feel like you could take out of that community living aspect. But I also then go to like, is that a cult? Is that like a weird like situation? Is there weird vibes that could happen? I don't know.
Well,
If you're nice to your neighbors, are you in a cult?
No, but like if we all lived on a compound together.
But what if, okay, but hear me out.
You can
what
leave
if we
the
all like
compound.
lived on a street together? Right?
Okay, a street is
A
different.
street's
A street's
nice.
different. I think like a compound in like, you know, Utah,
Right.
I'm not about.
Okay.
But
well, Utah gets a bad rap because their compounds have done some crazy stuff.
that's what I'm saying. But is it the compound or is it the people? Like I'm wondering, you know, like
Oh, like what breeds what?
what breeds what?
What if we called it a gated community?
Oh yeah, we should all move to the same gated community.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, there's some really great gated communities out there.
Right.
So I don't know.
Because so much of the community in modern life has been moved online. Like
Mm.
my tribe is like a political party or this people who are rooting for the same sports team as me and I'm following them or
Yeah.
interacting with them on Twitter or whatever. And I think at the end of the day, there's just still no substitute for physical community.
Mhm.
And
If you're able to have it, you know,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people live super isolated lifestyles, either like due to just like the area they're in, their own abilities, like just like lifestyle. And so I think that like if your main source, if the most like actual possible source of connection is online, then like that's so much better than nothing.
Sure.
But I think if you do have the ability to foster in-person, you know, connections as well, like realizing to like be able to prioritize that is like a privilege and has so much benefits.
Mhm.
yeah.
Actually, that makes me think too. One thing that I've appreciated about us both is, yes, we have the friend of our own friendship, but then we've also been able to introduce each other to other friends too. And I think that's part of, like, again, being in a physical community together. And, you know, we love hosting events, and I love that you guys come to them, like our annual parties. But even just on a smaller basis, you know, just bringing like, oh, Ruby would love to talk to you about XYZ, or her dad's an author and this would be such a great time for you to chat with her. And I think that's something in my life that I got from my mom too, of just like constantly thinking about like, who's the next person I want to introduce to who, and like matchmaking almost.
You're a great connector.
Yeah. And so is my mom. I think I got it from her. And that's kind of how she's been able to like build her career and everything. So it's really cool to see it come through me, which is interesting because when I was at a bachelorette a couple of weekends ago, there was a girl there who's friends with my friend, and she was like, oh, I hate it when my friends meet. It's my biggest nightmare. I actually don't think I'm going to have a bachelorette party because I don't want any of my friends to meet. What? And it was such a hot take. I was like, whoa.
Why?
I was like, that's crazy. My bachelorette party was the best weekend of my life, not because I was getting married, although that was cool too, because all my friends from every walk of life was there. And like, how amazing to see, again, like me in those friends as a group come together in celebration of something so happy and exciting. And for them all to meet each other and like make their own connections and tell stories about me, like roast me or not roast me. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like that was the coolest thing. So it was just I don't think everyone is like that, but I think I've appreciated that we're both in that same headspace, at least I think we are, where you're not like threatened by a friendship that could bud from one of your friends. And I'm obviously not, because I've introduced you to all my friends and I want you to be friends with all of them.
And I've introduced you to all of mine.
Yes.
And you say I like them a lot. I like them a lot, but I'm not willing to travel. That's what you've told me.
Oh, that's literally, that is verbatim. Yeah. I'm like, well, damn, I wish they lived closer. And yeah, that's so true.
I suspect that anxiety from the girl at the bachelorette party is also an insecurity about herself. Like, not only like losing a friend or feeling threatened, but to another friend, but also so many times in friendships, we're a different version of ourselves to different people. Like, I think that different parts of you come out. Friends of mine who I met in a professional context, I'm slightly different version of John to than people I met in college versus people I went to high school with. Like, they all have different views of who John is. And one thing that I have worked for, and so I used to have some of that anxiety that like some of my friends would meet each other, and because they know me from different contexts, it would be confusing and it would kind of disrupt the dynamic that I have with them. But through the years, I grew to really love it. And one of the things that I try to work on in myself is to try to have integrity, in the sense that I am one. I am like an integer. I am whole. That like, if you talk to all my friends and say, describe John in a paragraph, they all would basically say sort of the same thing. That you
have a type of arrogance that shouldn't be rewarded.
That's another story to be broached one day. But yes, they all have used that joke pretty frequently. But yeah, that I think that it's like all your friends know who you are, and so there's nothing to hide, because there's just Celia, there's just Allison, there's just John. And I think part of getting older is also feeling more secure in what that means to be yourself. And so and your friends are going to grow in their conception of you.
And that also, like, your dynamics can change. Like, I think you're so right that like most people don't call on the phone. But there's like an element of like, you can only feel so connected to someone when you're texting them.
Yeah.
And I remember like when my mom was sick, like being like, I need to talk to my best friends on the phone. Like I like was like making like an effort. And I even said to them, I was like, please call me.
Yeah.
Like, even though we don't normally talk on the phone, like this is a time when like I'm across the country, like I need that extra level. And you know, like I feel like Emma, my other best friend, like we have started talking.
You have another best friend. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. I love Emma. That's one that I maybe would travel for, actually.
Wow, yeah.
I really like it.
No, I've got
a handful.
got a couple, but you're up there. You know the rankings. You know the rankings.
It's like she does still rank us in her head, right?
Yeah.
Like there is
really
a
they're
ranking.
ranked.
There is my innermost
Ranking.
best friend, circle, and that Celia's in that. Yes.
Oh wow.
See, I don't know if I rank my best friends. That's so interesting. Do you rank best friends?
I rank every person I meet.
Like I'm imagining like the MySpace like best friend, profile.
It's more like
pic.
who do I tell a thing to? Of like
there's like a waterfall scale.
Yeah, like it's like if something happens, who am I like when John is in the hospital with appendicitis, who am I actually telling when I'm there versus who am I telling afterwards?
Okay, but don't you feel like that has something to do with proximity? Like I would if again, like last night, like something tragic happened to our neighbor and I had to run my breast milk over to her house so her daughter could have milk for the night, and I asked you to watch Clark on the Nanit, which by the way is very safe because Clark was asleep and it was all okay, and we live
like
very, very
10 feet
close.
from
Yeah,
him.
I mean, honestly, when I'm in
Our
my
two
bedroom,
we're like the same
you're
distance.
the same
yeah.
distance.
You
So,
can hear me
let's be
taking out the
clear.
trash. Like
Yeah.
our
I'm
house
gonna be
is
very
like
clear. I'm a very good mother.
Yeah.
But also, I did have to leave the house while Clark was asleep and Chris wasn't home, and I came over and gave you the Nanit. And it's not to say that, or the iPad with the Nanit on it. It's not to say that like I don't have other friends that could have done that, but like that was a proximity thing, and I felt so much trust that you would be.
Yeah, but
watch
like
our
I
kid.
like the appendix thing, it's more like emotional support.
Oh, okay. I felt
Like-
like that was maybe like if you needed to feed the dogs, which
No.
was true.
Which was true.
You have fed the dogs
That
a
I
number
do
of
need you
times.
to do. But like, and it was very kind. Like so many people did offer to help. But like, do you know? Like I just like there's like I think it is hard to have best friend level friendship with like 10 people.
Got it.
Like it's just and maybe like you're better at doing that, but like to me like I just have like a handful of people where like they're like I know they would do anything for me. Like when I'm planning a big event, I'm checking in on their schedule
Sure.
to see if they're able to do it. You
Mhm.
know, like there's just like a level of intimacy there, whether or not and you're the only one that like of those people that like lives on the west side. But there's still like, a couple of people where it's like family level, I feel like dependence and connection. And then I have like a tier 2 of people that like I would invite to every single thing I do. I love them. We've been friends for years, but it's like, I'm not on the phone with them when my mom's dying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like your friends are going to be listening to this and be like, where am I standing?
My friends don't listen to my stuff.
Oh, that's not true at all.
It's 100% true.
Okay,
You listen
well.
to the first episode and then you stop listening.
Why, do you have a tracker on me?
Well, because you didn't know the question that I asked.
Oh, that's true.
So I knew
But you didn't ask that on the first one.
Right. So I knew you weren't familiar with the content.
Got me. I have watched snippets, but I have not watched the full episodes. That's
Allison
true.
is always testing you. As someone in a relationship with Allison, she's constantly throwing out
I've
little
gotten
tests.
much better at that. I used to do that,
Challenges.
but I don't think I do that anymore. I just noticed that because of that. But I don't assume why would any of my friends consume my content? They can just talk to me.
Well, you're entertaining.
Yeah.
This is not the
I actually
conversation to
think
be
you
having
have-
on the show. Why would anyone watch this?
No, I think you have so many good things to say. You know how my days are, and when I actually love podcasts, but I need like the headlines. Like that's the podcast that I listen to most frequently, and even that I skip sometimes just because of how hectic the days are. But yes, I think your content's very valuable. I feel like you guys have touched a lot of awesome, interesting topics, and the banter's great. Like I would definitely what?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, anyways, your friends hopefully aren't gonna listen.
A lot of my friends listened to the first episode, which I really loved and appreciated. But I the consistent once a week, I don't know if they're checking in. Emma's mom though is a frequent listener, and I'm very thankful for that. And that makes
shout out
me
to
feel
Emma's
very
mom.
cool.
Yeah, that's very good. And your mom was too.
Yeah, my mom was. My dad's partner, I think,
Yeah.
is a more consistent listener than he is, perhaps.
Oh, I love that. See, what a gem. What a gem she is.
Okay, so who is one fictional couple you think should have gotten divorced? And this
Okay.
caused you a lot of angst.
Yes, I will preface by saying that I spent multiple hours asking
so
ChatGPT who fictional couples are, and then also why and why not should they be together.
Who fictional couples are?
Yes, like what fictional couples exist in the world. And then I went into depth on pros and cons lists for each of them. But I did find one.
Okay, I'm so
All right.
Drum roll, please.
Okay.
Cinderella and Prince Charming.
Whoa.
Wow. Tell us more.
Yes. So, Cinderella,
Uh-huh.
first of all, she is a pauper or a peasant, and she went to the gown. She went to the ball in a gown that was
Right.
so beautiful, and that's why the prince liked her, because of love at first sight, which I don't believe in. Right?
I
Like
don't
that's
either.
ridiculous. And she is okay. Sure, beauty, grace, all those things, fantastic. But like, they didn't even know each other, right? Like they really didn't know each other. And then she dropped her slipper, and he then took that slipper around to the whole town, which was like the ultimate game of like chase of like trying to find her. And I honestly think they're probably only together because he eventually found her and was like so excited and elated that he found her that there wasn't anything of substance.
Right.
Then you go into like, okay, he's a prince,
Mhm.
she's a peasant. What do they really have in common? Like, that's not a relationship that I feel like could be built on the same values. Like, she's not. I think like she could be maybe with a cobbler who makes a lot of money, but not the prince. Like, that's ridiculous.
She's with like a cobbler mogul in the town.
But isn't there an element that she was more well off until her father died, and then her stepmother is keeping her in that level of living, while her stepsisters did get to go to the ball, didn't they?
That's true. That's true. I still feel like they're on unequal playing field as far as like
Socioeconomics.
socioeconomics and also this element of, and this gets really deep, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm
ChatGPT
ready.
gave me this one. That he thinks of her as a servant and will always think of her as a servant in the relationship. So like, would he ever allow her to run her own business or become queen? I doubt it. So is that a good relationship?
Well, that's the problem with fairy tales, is we don't see the happily ever after.
Yeah.
We don't see what it's actually like
The
for them to be in
day-to-day
a couple.
drudgery. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's a question that I have. He only recognizes her once he puts the glass slipper on.
Right.
So the love at first sight, was it just her feet? Like, does he have like a secret foot fetish where he wasn't even looking at her eyes? He was like, damn, those dogs are hot.
Maybe he has a foot fetish, which also would suggest that there was something.
But
to discuss there.
maybe that's the
There's
basis of
nothing
their
wrong with having a foot fetish.
maybe that's the basis
You're
of their
right.
relationship.
That's my backup.
Like, that's your backup plan.
career.
Is
Yeah.
that he's got a foot thing. She's got nice feet in glass slippers. Maybe she also believes in the divine right of kings. Like, he's a monarch. Like, there you go. But here, I hear you out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was just a good fictional couple that we just don't have enough information
Right.
to know that they should be together forever. And we put a lot of like, oh, like you have to find your Prince Charming. It's like, well, I don't actually want a Prince Charming. Like, that would actually maybe suck.
I would want someone that could recognize my face.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
The expectations are so high, you know, just recognize my damn face. But I do think that the story's great. And I like Cinderella, but I think she could have done better.
This is it. You've convinced me. I'm on
Okay.
board. Did you have a nice time?
I did. I would come back.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's
Oh, wow.
huge for us,
All right,
especially
let us
since
know.
we carpooled.
Yeah. And I'll stay until you guys leave actually today. So there's that.
Do you want people to find you? Would you like to share your social media?
No, I think I'll be okay without that.
All right, fair enough.
Sounds good.
Well, check out my social media for a bunch of stories that often feature Celia.
There you go. the ultimate Easter egg.
Yes. Well, that was absolutely delightful.
You are in love with our neighbor.
I am, yes. And according to one organization in Los Angeles, they think that we are siblings because we have a membership together. I can't say where because maybe they'll catch on to us.
Right.
But
you think they're listening to this and they're going to find out?
They could be.
Okay.
How did you feel?
I felt great. I mean, it's beautiful seeing the two of you light up about how much you love each other. And yeah, I just feel really lucky that we're next door.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, well, speaking of next door, it's time for my soon-to-be patented game show, Stay or Leave.
Oh.
What I just said will make sense once I read you the scenario. This is a game where I present you with a hypothetical situation of how I might behave in the future, and you decide if you would stay with me or leave me, because marriage is a choice, not a trap. Please let us know if we sell merchandise what you would want that slogan on. So I've already teased this a little bit in the conversation, but I decide that the stress of raising a baby without more support is too much. So I demand that we move into a commune-type living situation with Celia and one other couple. I should say Celia and Chris and one other couple. She does very much have a husband and a family.
Right. They can apply to be on the compound, though. Celia gets in, right?
No, it's her whole family unit.
Okay.
This will require us to help raise their children as well. But we get to split all the chores and have a bigger backyard because the commune is outside of the city due to property taxes. We will have our own bathroom, though, that we will have to share with our future son. Would you stay or leave?
Wait, we only get one bathroom for our commune unit?
Yeah, but like we don't have to share it with the other families.
So how is this any better than just living next door to Celia and Chris?
Because you add another couple in.
Who I'm not told who that is.
Well, it's someone,
that's just a mystery couple?
It's someone we like.
who someone we like who also wants to live in this commune.
Right.
With one bathroom.
No, each unit gets their own bathroom.
I understand, but it's still only one bathroom for us and our son.
Well, that's why I included it in the information to help you make your decision. And the big difference is it's like living next door, like we still operate as our own units. But in this commune, we would be communally raising our children and doing all of our chores as a group. So, like, it's not
We're like on a kibbutz.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I don't do this, you're leaving me?
Yeah.
For Celia and the commune?
Or I'm doing this no matter what, so you have to decide if you're going to stay or leave.
Right. I think I would leave. Yeah, I think I would leave. The bathroom thing. And also, like, it's weird that you gave so much thought to the property tax situation so that we have to be outside of the city, but not so much to doing a multi-bathroom commune.
What if we got our own bathroom and our son had his own bathroom? Then would you stay married to me?
Maybe if it was like a nice commune and we were
think about like a mansion with different wings.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Wow, our relationship is far more tenuous than I thought that it was.
Oh, you want to share a bathroom with our son?
Well, I that wouldn't make me leave the marriage.
But you're saying we have to go to this commune, too.
But it's a beautiful mansion.
Oh, it is a beautiful mansion?
With a beautiful outdoors. And it's really just a lifestyle change where we're helping raise other people's children and we're sharing responsibilities.
Okay.
And we're working as a village.
So it would be contingent on who this third couple is, too, because you're being really sketchy about that. It's like kind of unclear why it's even part of the hypothetical to begin with. But all right. And I guess in that sense, I would stay. The mansion only has one bathroom for us? Okay.
Well, the mansion has many bathrooms. I'm talking about a full bathroom. There's obviously some
tub?
Powder rooms. Right?
Oh, so there are powder rooms. There are powder rooms, to be clear. Okay. All right. I'm a little more open with the powder room situation. Maybe some don't have a full tub. They're like three-quarter baths.
They're half baths.
Is there an extra three-quarter bath with a shower?
No.
So it's half bath.
You have to use the one bathroom we only have one shower. But you can have other toilets accessible to you.
Okay. Wait, can the other couples use our bathroom?
No, that's what makes it ours.
But is there a common area bathroom if we're all hanging out and it's like a powder room?
Yes, that's the powder room. That's how houses work.
Okay, this is important stuff. I don't know why.
I like how you're not like, what does it mean to raise another couple's children? What does it mean to split chores? You just only care about access to the bathroom.
Right, access to the bathroom. That's critically important to me.
Okay. Well, listeners, write in and let us know what you would do in this situation and which aspect of the communal living would be most upsetting to you, and if it would be the bathroom.
The bathrooms, yeah, obviously. Anyone with half a brain is going to say the bathrooms is so important.
Thank you all so much for listening. You can watch the full video version of this podcast on youtube.com/justbetweenus.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast. Please give us 5 stars and send it to a friend. We're really trying to grow.
Yeah, we're really trying to grow, because if we don't grow, then we can't keep going.
Yeah. You either grow or you die.
Or you die. Yeah. The stakes could not be higher. So please rate, subscribe. We're begging.
Yeah.
And then, do you want to promote your exciting new venture?
And you can check me out on Substack at Wrong Man for the Job.
It's very great new Substack, all about masculinity and personal essays. And if you're like, wow, I love Substack, why am I not also following Allison's? You can check out me at Emotional Support Lady on Substack.com.
And if you've never even heard of Substack and you don't want to do any of that stuff, newfangled technology, you can go and buy an old-fashioned book. You can buy I Think Conversations About Modern Marriage, written by Allison Raskin, or, of course, Save the Date, also written by my lovely wife.
But but also, just even if you're not going to read John's Substack, just subscribe.
Just
we're
subscribe.
building. We're building. All right. Well, as we say in our home, good night to me, the Alibaba.
Good night to you, the Alibaba.